What's up? It's Tom, and twin case you missed it, Pablo Lopez exited his start against the Athletics last night through one warm-up pitch, getting ready for the sixth inning, and then motioned to the dugout for the trainer to come out. Nick Paparesta came out, as you see here, talked it over with him, and Pablo exited the game. Good news is it doesn't sound like anything too crazy happened out there. You see this quote from the post-game. This was from Matthew Leach of the MLB.com beat reporter. Highlighted there that Pablo said, "It's also a relief that I never felt a big pop or anything." So it doesn't sound like, we can expect a long-term stay for Pablo or anything that might completely shut him down for the year. We'll have to see when the MRI comes. Sometimes guys talk like this and it turns out everything is blown up, so, but the early kind of signs are that this is not going to be too disruptive, but he's probably going to go to the injured list. I mean, it doesn't seem like there's any possible way Pablo's going to avoid an injured list stay, which, that's a bummer. I still consider the ace of the staff. Pablo, in addition to that, is kind of the leader of the staff and one of the main clubhouse guys for the Twins right now, so don't want to downplay the loss of Pablo Lopez, but anytime you have someone go down, it's going to create an opportunity for another guy. And feels real weird to say about the Minnesota Twins, but they have multiple other guys who could step in here. Let's take a look at the upcoming schedule, though. Looking forward, today, Zebby Matthews is expected to start, then Bailey Ober. Then the Twins haven't listed probables, for the weekend series at home against Toronto yet, but following the rotation, it would be Chris Paddock and Joe Ryan Friday, Saturday. And then Sunday is when Pablo's spot would come up again. So they do have Simeon Woods Richardson and David Festa are options on the 40-man. They have a couple other guys, Travis Adams, Marco Raya, who are on the 40-man in the minors, but they're not really realistic options to step in, especially above a Simeon Woods Richardson or a David Festa. We want to call out that, this is also possibly an opportunity for the Twins to use a spot starter or a waiver claim or like a, reclamation project trade guy like Jonah Bride and to open up space for that. They could DFA Jonah Bride since it doesn't really seem like they need him. Obviously, that would take some other maneuvering going on because he's on the active roster, but I just always want to call out that that's a possibility because that seems to be one of Derek Falvey's favorite signature moves. Now, he does that much more on the hitter side than on the pitcher side, but I could envision something going down in that way. But assuming that doesn't happen, again, I'm more throwing that out as a possibility than saying that I think that's going to happen. I think the easy assumption is that either Simeon Woods Richardson or David Festa is going to come up and take that spot while Pablo is out. Taking a look at since their recent demotions, Simeon Woods Richardson last pitched yesterday. He got beat up a little bit. He gave up 3 home runs in that outing. He hasn't necessarily pitched poorly. Both of these guys are kind of also working on things while they're in AAA, so maybe looking at just their raw performance isn't really all that indicative of, anything. Since Simeon Woods Richardson is working on a splitter, David Festa is working on a sinker. But, I mean, taking a look at the numbers, David Festa's numbers look good against anybody, to be fair to Simeon Woods Richardson, but he's been remarkable since he last got sent down. Simeon Woods Richardson last pitched yesterday, so he's on the same schedule as Pablo Lopez is. David Festa last pitched on Thursday and is listed as the Saints' probable starter tonight. So kind of interesting to see what's going to happen here. With the Twins needing a starter on Sunday. Are they going to let Festa throw? I think that would be a sign that probably Simeon Woods Richardson is going to come up and return to the rotation. But, they could not have Festa throw tonight and bring him over. I don't know if they would wait until the Twins come back home or if they would send Festa out today. They would have to make that decision soon and maybe have him pitch tomorrow afternoon in Sacramento. And then you could push Paddock and Joe Ryan back a day. That's an option. Or they could just keep Festa in the Twin Cities and just say, hey, you're not pitching tonight. We're saving you for this series against Toronto. Probably wouldn't want to have Festa sit around all the way until Sunday when Pablo's spot comes up. So maybe he'd pitch Friday instead. That'd be still a pretty long layoff between starts. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I can tell you I would probably go with let's assume Pablo is not going to be, he's going to be going on the IL. So let's get David Festa out to Sacramento and have him pitch tomorrow afternoon. Maybe that's a little bit of a crazy schedule. So we'll see if they think that's realistic or not. But in case you missed it, Twin case you missed it again, I had a Nostradamus prediction on the Twins Off Daily podcast. They asked me to bring some predictions. I had one related to David Festa. So maybe this is the first step to this Nostradamus prediction coming true. Let's take a look at that real quick. Nostradamus. Young Mr. Festa has been the ideal major league send down. No one has used a demotion to the minor leagues that I have seen more productively than David Festa has. He is not just developing a fourth pitch. He has pushed his sinker to be his primary pitch in these outings, and he has still been super successful. He is throwing more strikes than I think we've ever seen David Festa throw. With this new pitch that he's featuring, I'm all in, baby. David Festa is going to lead the Twins in pitching war in the second half.
Whoa, okay.
So I don't know. Was that a crazy call? You tell me. But at the time of that prediction, obviously Festa was on the outside looking in, and now this Pablo injury maybe creates an opportunity for him to rejoin the rotation. Obviously, Pablo's going to be in the rotation when he's healthy, but maybe it becomes a two-horse race between Festa and Zebby to see who's going to stick in that rotation. Who knows? It's a great situation for the Minnesota Twins either way to have this much pitching depth and to see your ace go down and be like, hey, we got some other horses we can turn to. So anyway, thanks for checking this one out. Twin case you missed it again, we're just going to hammer that into the ground. The system recaps, for a while, I'm going to do those with just the minor leagues, but I might be coming in with more of these videos in which I'm just kind of talking about the Twins in these kind of short updates, some things changing on the channel. The end result is, maybe some more videos, maybe some more timely conversations. That's what the hope is. So I hope you enjoyed this one, and we'll talk again soon.